The exact words to say to make the universe respond. Most people spend years chasing the life they want, working harder, dreaming bigger, and waiting longer, never realizing the universe has been listening all along, just not to what they think they're saying. Here's the truth that nobody teaches in school, and most spiritual teachers only hint at. The universe doesn't respond to your requests. It responds to your vibration, and your words are the tuning fork that sets that vibration in motion. What you're about to read isn't just another list of affirmations, it's a complete guide to mastering the exact language that unlocks the spiritual portal between who someone is right now and who they were born to become. Topic 1. The language the universe actually speaks. There's a profound misunderstanding at the heart of most manifestation practices, and it costs people years of their spiritual growth. Most folks believe that if they just say the right prayer, the right affirmation, or the right wish loud enough, the universe will finally deliver the goods. But the universe isn't a vending machine. It's a mirror. It doesn't process requests the way a waiter takes an order. It simply reflects back the dominant energy that a person broadcasts through their thoughts, emotions, and words, moment by moment, day after day. This is the foundational law of mysticism that sits quietly behind every great spiritual tradition on Earth, from ancient Vedic teachings to Stoic philosophy to modern quantum physics. And once someone truly gets it, their entire relationship with reality shifts overnight. The fascinating thing is that the universe speaks in the language of feeling, not vocabulary. A person can repeat "I am abundant" 100 times a day while feeling broke, stressed, and desperate. And guess what they'll keep attracting? Exactly. The words act as a vehicle, but consciousness, the emotional state behind them, is the fuel that powers the message. Think of it this way. A text message sent without a signal goes nowhere, no matter how beautifully written it is. Words without genuine feeling are spiritual static. This is why two people can use the exact same affirmation and get completely different results. Their inner signal strength is worlds apart. Now, here's where personal development gets really interesting. The universe doesn't just respond to grand declarations spoken during a morning ritual. It's reading someone's energetic output 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Every sentence mumbled in frustration. Every complaint whispered about a coworker. Every "I can't afford it" or "this always happens to me." All of it is a transmission. All of it is a vote. The soul is constantly broadcasting, and the universe is constantly voting back. This is simultaneously terrifying and incredibly empowering, because it means that the moment someone decides to shift their words, they begin to shift their world. And how that shift works in practice is where the real magic begins. Topic 2. Why most people's words fall on deaf ears. Here's something that might sting a little, but consider it a gift. The reason the universe seems to be ignoring most people isn't because their dreams are too big, or because they haven't meditated enough, or because they weren't born under the right cosmic alignment. It's because there's a catastrophic mismatch between what their mouths are saying and what their subconscious mind actually believes. Spiritual awakening researchers and neuroscientists agree on one thing. The subconscious mind runs approximately 95% of human behavior, meaning that if the deep programming in someone's inner software hasn't been updated, no amount of surface-level affirmations will produce lasting change. Think of the subconscious mind as the universe's real inbox. The conscious mind sends emails it wants delivered. I am wealthy. I am loved. I am healthy. But if the subconscious is holding decades of contradictory programming, money is hard to get. I don't deserve love. Illness runs in my family. Those emails hit the spam folder every single time. This is what creates spiritual isolation for so many seekers. They're doing all the right rituals on the outside, but their inner world remains unchanged. Louise Hay spent decades teaching that the root of every external problem is an internal belief, and the work of aligning words with genuine conviction is the true beginning of any real transformation. The good news, and there's very good news here, is that the subconscious can be reprogrammed. Science shows that repeating new language patterns consistently for 21 to 30 days begins to physically rewire neural pathways in the brain, replacing old limiting narratives with new ones that vibrate at a completely different frequency. This isn't wishful thinking, it's neuroscience dressed in spiritual clothing. Books like The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy and You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay provide stunning roadmaps for exactly this kind of inner rewiring. But knowing which words to use and how to use them is a specific skill, and it starts with two of the most powerful syllables in any language. Topic 3. The two words that create reality, I am. Of all the phrases a human being can speak, none carries more creative force than the two words, I am. In virtually every mystical tradition on the planet, from the Hebrew name of God, I am that I am, to the Sanskrit Aham Brahmasmi, I am the infinite, to the teachings of Neville Goddard, these two words are recognized as the direct channel between human consciousness and the organizing intelligence of the universe. When someone says I am, they are not making a casual statement. They are issuing a command to the creative forces that shape their reality. The universe hears it as an absolute declaration of truth and immediately begins arranging circumstances, people, and events to confirm it. Here's the catch, and it's a big one. Most people use I am destructively without even realizing it. I am so tired. I am terrible with money. I am not good enough. I am always the last one picked. Every time someone attaches a limitation to the words I am, they are quite literally writing a script for their life experience and handing it to the universe for production. Louise Hay called this giving the universe your order, and the universe, being the impeccably faithful mirror it is, always fulfills the order as placed. The spiritual portal that I am opens is neutral. It doesn't edit, judge, or filter. Whatever fills that blank after I am becomes a magnetic frequency that the person's energy field projects outward 24 hours a day. So the first practical assignment in mastering the language of the universe is this. For 1 full week, write down every sentence that starts with I am in a small notebook. Just notice, without judgment. The pattern that emerges will be one of the most revealing acts of self-knowledge a person can perform. Then, with that awareness in hand, begin replacing the destructive declarations with empowering ones. I am at peace. I am guided. I am a magnet for healing and abundance. I am in alignment with my higher self. Repeat these not robotically but feelingly. Let the body actually experience the statement as a present reality. This is where affirmation stops being a performance and starts becoming a spiritual awakening. And it barely scratches the surface of what's possible when someone learns to speak in the present tense. Topic 4. The art of speaking in the present tense. One of the sneakiest traps in the manifestation world is what might be called future tense spirituality. Someone says, I will be happy, I will have money, I will find love someday. And while the intention is beautiful, the energy is catastrophically misaligned. The universe doesn't recognize someday. It doesn't have a calendar. It only knows now. And when someone keeps projecting their desires into a perpetual future, the universe obliges perfectly by keeping those desires perpetually in the future. This is one of the most common reasons people feel stuck. Not because the universe isn't responding, but because it's responding exactly to the signal being sent. The shift to present tense language is one of the fastest ways to elevate your soul and change what's being broadcast to the universe. Instead of I want to be healthy, try I am healthy and my body heals with ease. Instead of I hope to find my calling, say, I am living my calling with joy and purpose. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. This is literally why athletes like Michael Jordan visualized every game before stepping on the court, and why Jim Carrey wrote himself a check for $10 million before he had it. These weren't delusional acts. They were masterclasses in programming the subconscious with present tense conviction. The universe met them exactly where their consciousness was planted. Manifestation expert Yulia Ozerova suggests a beautifully simple technique for anyone just starting this practice. Begin pairing present tense desires with real, immediate experiences. Before drinking a glass of water, say aloud, how nice it would be to feel completely abundant, and then drink. When finished, say, everything I want comes true. It sounds laughably small, and yet it's brilliant because it trains the nervous system to link the feeling of fulfillment with daily reality, gradually building an unshakable inner state of already having. This bridges the gap between words and genuine belief, which is the true engine of manifestation. But there's another layer to this that almost nobody talks about, and it has nothing to do with saying anything at all. Topic 5. The loudest language, sacred silence. Here's a counterintuitive truth that tends to stop people in their tracks. Sometimes the most powerful message someone can send to the universe is complete and utter silence. In the frantic world of affirmations, vision boards, and scripting routines, the ancient practice of intentional silence has become a nearly lost art, and yet nearly every great mystic, philosopher, and enlightened teacher in history pointed to it as the primary channel through which the universe responds. Prayer and affirmation are speaking to the universe. Silence is the art of actually listening to it, and you can't hear a whisper when you're shouting. When someone decides to truly meditate, not just sit quietly with a racing mind but consciously still the inner dialogue, something remarkable begins to happen. The constant noise of ego-based thought drops away, and what emerges underneath is what many traditions call the voice of the higher self, the part of a person that is already whole, already aligned, already in perfect communication with the organizing intelligence of the cosmos. Eckhart Tolle describes this in The Power of Now as the present moment, which is simultaneously the doorway to consciousness and the only real point of contact with the universe. It's in this stillness that real spiritual vision begins to emerge, not as dramatic visions or voices, but as quiet nudges, unexpected insights, and a profound sense of knowing what to do next. The practical prescription here is simple but surprisingly hard for most people. Sit in intentional silence for 10 minutes each day. No phone, no music, no guided meditation track playing in the background. Just breathe, observe the thoughts without engaging them, and allow the mind to settle like a snow globe placed on a still table. Over time, usually within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent practice, most people begin to experience what could genuinely be called an energetic portal, a state of receptivity where intuitions sharpen, synchronicities multiply, and the universe begins communicating in unmistakably clear ways. This isn't mysticism for the advanced practitioner only. It's the birthright of every soul willing to get quiet enough to receive it. And what someone does immediately after receiving these insights is where the real transformation is unleashed. Topic 6. Gratitude, the highest frequency, word of all. If there were a single word that functions as the master key to the universe's attention, spiritual teachers across centuries have pointed to the same one. Thank you. Gratitude is not merely a polite social custom. It is one of the highest frequency emotional states a human being can occupy, and the universe treats it as an irresistible signal. When someone genuinely feels and speaks gratitude, not as a performance, but as a true recognition of the good that already exists in their life, they are transmitting a frequency that says, "This is who I am. This is the energy I live in." And the universe, ever the faithful mirror, sends back more of exactly that. This is why Oprah Winfrey has kept a gratitude journal for over 4 decades, not as a spiritual hobby, but as a deliberate, strategic practice that rewires the focus of consciousness toward abundance. Here's the deeper mysticism of gratitude that most people miss. Gratitude isn't just reactive. It isn't only for things that have already arrived. The most advanced manifestors practice what might be called preemptive gratitude, giving sincere thanks for desires as though they've already been fulfilled. Thank you, universe, for the perfect health I'm experiencing. Thank you for the financial abundance that flows into my life with ease. This practice short-circuits the ego's habit of waiting for proof before feeling good, and it installs the feeling state of already having, which is the precise emotional signature that draws corresponding experiences into reality. The late Dr. Wayne Dyer called this living from the end, and it's one of the most disruptive upgrades a person can make to their inner operating system. The most accessible gratitude practice for building this habit is writing 3 specific gratitude statements each morning before touching any screen. Not vague ones, not, "I'm grateful for my life," but specific ones. "I am grateful that my daughter laughed this morning." I am grateful that my body carried me through yesterday. I am grateful that I woke up with an idea that excites me. Specificity is what makes gratitude feel real rather than mechanical, and it's what elevates the emotional signal from a whisper to a shout. Over time, this simple morning ritual begins to reshape the entire lens through which reality is perceived. And that shift in perception is precisely what triggers the next, profoundly unexpected dimension of communicating with the universe. Topic 7. Speaking directly to your higher self. There's a conversation most people never think to have, and it's arguably the most important one available to them. While most spiritual seekers focus their words outward toward the universe or God or Source, a growing body of spiritual development wisdom suggests that the most direct line of communication runs inward, toward the higher self, the eternal aspect of consciousness that exists beyond the noise of daily life and temporary identity. The higher self isn't a mystical concept reserved for monks or advanced practitioners. It's simply the truest version of who someone already is, the part that already knows the answers, already feels the inner peace, already sees the path ahead with perfect clarity. Speaking to the higher self is a practice called inner dialogue, and it's one of the most transformative tools in the entire toolkit of spiritual awakening. The simplest way to begin is with a single daily question asked aloud or in writing. Higher self, what do I need to know today? Or what is the most aligned action I can take right now? And then, here's the crucial part, actually listen and write down whatever comes without editing, judging, or second-guessing. This isn't channeling, and it isn't talking to imaginary friends. It's the practiced art of accessing the deeper intelligence that lives beneath the constant commentary of the ego mind. Intuition coach Ray-Lin Klue recommends keeping a dedicated notebook for exactly this practice, a physical object that signals to both the subconscious and the universe. I am serious about this conversation. The mirror practice is another remarkably powerful variation of this. Standing in front of a mirror, looking directly into one's own eyes and speaking affirmations aloud. I see you. I love you. I trust you. Might feel absurd at first. Most people last about 30 seconds before they burst out laughing or feel an unexpected wave of emotion. Both reactions are significant, because both signal that something real is being touched. Louise Hay pioneered this technique for healing deep wounds of self-worth and self-love, and her students reported that within weeks of consistent mirror practice, their relationships, finances, and health began to shift in ways they'd previously considered impossible. The true self, when it feels genuinely seen and spoken to with love and respect, responds with energy and aliveness that ripples outward into every area of life. And once that internal foundation is established, the final piece of the puzzle falls elegantly into place. Topic 8. Crafting your personal energetic script. Everything covered so far, the I am declarations, the present tense language, the silence, the gratitude, the inner dialogue, all of it becomes exponentially more powerful when someone deliberately weaves it into what might be called a personal energetic script. This isn't a wish list or a prayer. It's a carefully crafted, emotionally charged, present tense narrative of the life someone is choosing to inhabit, written and spoken, as though it's already fully real. Think of it as the instruction manual handed directly to the universe, signed with the full frequency of genuine belief and heartfelt feeling. Napoleon Hill called a version of this a definite chief aim, and he considered it the single most critical element in the success of every person he studied in Think and Grow Rich. The script is the soul's most articulate conversation with creation itself. A personal energetic script typically includes 5 to 10 powerful I am statements, 3 to 5 gratitude declarations for already received blessings, and a vivid present tense narrative paragraph describing the life, relationships, health, and purpose that represent the person's deepest authentic calling. It should be read aloud, not mumbled but spoken with real presence, ideally twice daily. Once in the morning upon waking, when the subconscious is most receptive, and once at night, just before sleep, when the subconscious takes over and begins to process and integrate everything it's received during the day. Jim Carrey, Denzel Washington, and Will Smith have all spoken publicly about versions of this practice, not as spiritual tourists dabbling in self-help, but as serious architects of their own consciousness and destiny. The beauty of a personal energetic script is that it can and should evolve. As someone grows, as their spiritual development deepens, as old layers of energetic hypersensitivity are healed, and new dimensions of self-knowledge open up, the script becomes a living document, a real-time record of transformation. One practical suggestion: read the script in front of the mirror, using the techniques from Topic 7, making direct eye contact with oneself while speaking each line with the full intention of absolute truth. Over 21 days of consistent practice, the subconscious begins to accept the new narrative as its operating reality. And when that internal shift reaches critical mass, the external world begins to rearrange itself in ways that can only be described as miraculous. This is not the exception for a chosen few. This is the natural, inevitable result of finally learning to speak the universe's language with fluency, consistency, and unshakable conviction. It's time to speak, and mean it. The universe has never been ignoring anyone. It has been faithfully, relentlessly, and without exception, responding to exactly what each person has been broadcasting, consciously or not. The question was never whether it would listen. The question has always been, what have you been saying? The tools are all here. The power of I am, the urgency of the present tense, the healing frequency of gratitude, the sacred clarity of silence, the transformative practice of speaking to the higher self, and the master-level skill of crafting a personal energetic script. None of this requires extraordinary talent, a special lineage, or years on a meditation cushion in the Himalayas. It requires only one thing: the decision to begin today, with the very next word that comes out of the mouth. So here's the real question. What is the story you've been telling the universe about who you are, and is it the one you actually want to live? What I am statements have been running on autopilot in the background of daily life, quietly shaping every experience, every relationship, every opportunity. And, perhaps the most provocative question of all, are you willing to change your words even before the evidence shows up? Because that is the true test of a person who is ready to stop waiting and start creating. The universe is not out there somewhere, playing hard to get. It's inside every breath, every heartbeat, every moment of genuine presence, and it's been begging to hear from the real you. Start today. Write the script, speak the words, feel them in the body, meditate on them in the silence, and watch what the universe writes back. If this journey speaks to something deep inside, if it cracked something open, confirmed something already sensed, or lit a spark that's been waiting for oxygen, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notifications, because this is just the beginning. There is an entire universe of wisdom ahead, and it's been waiting for exactly the right person, you, to show up and ask the right questions.